Today I've got two things. The first being a massive pimple on my forehead, and the second is this, the 2019 Volkswagen Amarok. And thankfully, this is much better. The trend with engines nowadays is downsizing, and that's no different with utes. For example, Toyota got rid of their V6 in their current Hilux range, and Ford's new Raptor is powered by just a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Volkswagen, on the other hand, have gone the opposite way, introducing a V6 line into the Amarok range in 2017. This model right here is the updated TDI Ultimate 580, and you might be able to deduce from the name it is the top of the range. Power comes from a 3-litre twin-turbo V6 diesel engine, and that pushes out 190 kilowatts of power and, as the badge suggests, 580 newton meters of torque. That moves this 2.2 ton of car from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 7.3 seconds. For comparison, that's as fast as a Mark V Golf GTI. So this thing is quick. Interestingly, for such a truck-heavy market, the Amarok isn't on sale in the US. So for our American viewers, in this video you get to live vicariously through me. Stepping inside, in the front seats there's a great sense of space, accentuated by how wide the cabin is. The shoulder lines are also really low, which not only makes it easier to put your hand on the side, but it means the glass area is very tall. Same goes for the front windscreen. If you like bottle holders, then you like the Amarok, because there's 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's also a handy front shelf for storing your knickknacks. There's also a 12-volt power port right at the top, which makes it easy if you've got a dash cam or any other equipment. You can plug it straight in here without having to route it all the way down the center console. As with all VWs, the interior is screwed together very well. There are hardly any panel gaps, and there's a good feeling of solidity in the cabin, which they're known for. The materials at the top are hard, but you'd want them to be in a commercial vehicle because they'd get coated with dirt and dust, so they're easy to wipe down. But the critical touch points, such as the driver's armrest and the center console, are nice and soft. If you've sat in newer VWs and you come inside the Amarok, then you notice everything from the infotainment system to the dials, even the key, look like they're from last generation, and that's because they are. For instance, this system I think first debuted in the Mark VII Golf back in 2013. So you see this 6.3-inch screen is quite small by today's standards. But credit where it's due, they have kept it updated with all the infotainment features that you'd expect, for instance Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's also inbuilt satellite navigation powered by an SD card. Radio includes AM and FM. There's also DAB digital radio. There's also this sensor strip, which, if you give it a second, once you put your hand towards it, more contextual information rises. And there's also Bluetooth phone streaming. The shifter is a very simple configuration. Park all the way down to drive, flick it down once more for sport, and to the right for manual Tiptronic. 2-stage heated seats, along with a rear diff lock, and also a button that just says off-road. Push it, now icon comes on, and essentially what it does is pushes the ABS system and the stability system into a off-road mode, and also enables hill descent control, and it won't allow the car to go into 7th or 8th gear. The mirrors can be folded in electronically, but unlike most cars, they don't tilt in. Instead, they swivel all the way up. And that makes the car look quite funny from the outside. It's like someone's pinched its ears. Okay, chode test time. So we've got a thick 1-litre Gatorade bottle. Let's test out cabin storage. So on the driver's door bins, easy. Center cup holders, no. Center armrest. Now it doesn't look like it's going to shut, but they've actually hollowed out this area here, so it does fit. And in the glove box, no, which makes it the first car I've tested that the bottle doesn't fit in the glove box. But what's that, 2 out of 4? Scrapes by with a pass. Now the eagle eye amongst you may have noticed that the rear doors are quite a bit shorter than the front, and you might think that means less rear seat cabin space. And you'd be right. The Amarok trails pretty much all of its competition when it comes down to rear seat space. Granted, I'm very tall, 6'3" or 190 centimeters, but I do have this passenger seat pushed quite far forward, and I still very much hit my knees on the back of the chair. In the Ranger, D-Max and Colorado, I can sit behind my own driving position. That won't be happening with the Amarok unless this person has no legs. The width of the cabin means that you can get 3 adults across. The middle seat passenger will just have to share the footwell because theirs is taken up by 2 cup holders, although they're so wide it shouldn't be a problem. 2 map pockets. The door bins on the side are also huge and they're lined with felt. 2 ISOFIX child mount tethers. But you do sit quite upright, so I'm not sure how comfortable it'd be for a longer journey. The seats themselves are comfortable, but I just wish there was more space. In the tray, there is an integrated step in the rear bumper, and in terms of payload, it's in the mid-900s for the base V6 variants and 836 kilograms in this top-of-the-range Ultimate trim. In terms of dimensions, Volkswagen say you can fit a pallet in widthways, and there are 4 cargo tie-down hooks. The bed is also lined, and there is an additional 12-volt power outlet. The lid is also well weighted, so it's not too heavy to move up and down. So you've seen the ins and outs of the Amarok, but how does it work in a drive-through? This, of course, is a very important test, and also I'm starving.
Is that the online order?
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. This is like a mukbang now. Worked well. When you're spending this amount of money on a ute, how it handles on-road and unladen is, in my opinion, just as important as how it handles off-road. Because, let's be honest, I don't think many people are going to buy this and fill the tub full of stuff on a regular basis. If you were, you'd get a lower end variant in the range. And I'm pleased to say that the Amarok handles really well on road. It drives nicely. You forget you're driving a commercial vehicle or a ute. The only time you are reminded of that is when you go over sharp bumps. And because this has leaf springs in the back, which are designed to carry load, it's going to be a lot more stiff than a regular car. I was driving around some twisty and windy roads the other day, and dare I say it, it was actually kind of fun. I never thought I'd put those 2 words together, but it was enjoyable to drive. You don't feel the heft in this car. It's big, but it doesn't feel unwieldy. And also, this 8-speed gearbox is really smooth. The first to second gear, Volkswagen say the first gear is used only for launches, and they're right. I think under normal acceleration, you reach 8 or 9 kilometers an hour and it's already in second gear. And the first to second shift is good and 75% of the time. The other 25% you can feel the jolt, but after that the gearbox is faultless. It works so nicely and it delivers the power from the engine really well. Speaking of the engine, as I said, it's quick. I knew it would be fast. I didn't realize how quick it would be. In terms of fuel economy, I've been doing a mix of driving, so that's highway, around town and in the city, and so far I am averaging 9.3 litres to the 100. I'll let you convert that to a unit you understand if you're watching overseas, but if you can't be bothered, then 9.3 litres for a 3-litre twin-turbo V6, pretty good, I'd say. It's almost, I think it's better than what a lot of people get in their 4-cylinder engines in the same class. Part of the reason why it gets good fuel economy is the gearbox. So as mentioned before, it's 8-speed, and with all Volkswagens, it upshifts really aggressively. I think I've got some footage of, I was doing 53 or 54 kilometers an hour, and it was already in 7th gear. So that definitely helps. And also, this has start-stop. It works pretty well. I've never felt the need to turn it off in traffic. Restarts quite quickly, and there's not too much vibration. The only thing is that a lot of newer systems, when you if you're stuck in traffic and you put the car into neutral and apply the handbrake, then the car won't restart because it knows you're not going anywhere. But with the Amarok, if you do that, the moment you take your foot off the brake pedal, it restarts. It doesn't matter which gear you're in. So if you want the engine to stay off, you have to keep your foot on the brake. The bi-xenons fitted to our model are great at night. They're really bright and they have good range. I just wish you didn't have to buy this ultimate model in order to get those headlights, because the lower models come with just standard halogens. This one also gets step lighting, which is LED lights along the side step, which illuminate when you unlock the car, and it's also really nice. Road and wind noise is also really well suppressed, even on these 20-inch wheels. There's not a lot of tire roll coming into the cabin, and you only hear a little bit of whistle at high speeds over these large door mirrors, but it's well insulated against outside noise. You can throw this thing around corners faster than you'd expect to, and let me do it for you right now. And it just goes around the corner with not much fuss. There's hardly any body roll, especially from the back because it's so stiff. I'd expect a lot more drama because it's so tall, but nothing. It's great. Volkswagen are now expecting a majority of their sales to be the V6 Amarok, and I can see why, because this is the engine to go for. So, thoughts on the car? The Amarok is a good-looking, very powerful ute with good driving dynamics and on-road presence. The thing is, for 72 grand, I'm not sure I can recommend this ultimate trim. And it's also really starting to feel its age and missing key safety components such as side curtain airbags, which essentially rules it out for family duties. My money would go for the base V6 version called the V6 Core. Sure, you don't get some of the creature comforts, but you also save over 20 grand on the asking price. What do you think of the Amarok? Of course, let us know in the comments. And also, what do you think of the Ford-Volkswagen partnership for the next ute? Also, let us know in the comments below. And until the next video, drive safe, and I'll see you again soon. And you've got your basic media sources such as... Oh, hold on. Radio. What?